He's been called the King of Pop and is one of the most culturally significant stars of the 20th century. He achieved national fame by age 11 and, unlike many child stars, was able to maintain it into adulthood. He broke down racial barriers, had a 4-decade career, became a fashion icon, had his dance skills praised by no less than Fred Astaire, and is still internationally famous. Yet his life was not without controversy. Of course, I'm talking about Michael Jackson. You know who he is, but did you know he may have used voodoo practices to enhance his personal power and charisma, to increase his wealth, and to curse his show business enemies? Hi, I'm Tamworth Grice. Welcome to my channel, the Tamworth Grice Files. Cases that are spooky, macabre, fascinating, supernatural, and just plain weird. And in each instance, I have a personal connection to the story, so be sure to stick around to the end to hear about that. Michael Jackson was an iconic American singer, songwriter, and dancer. He rose to fame as the youngest member of the Jackson 5, a Motown brother act formed in the late 1960s. The group quickly became a national sensation, and young Michael, as the lead singer, stood out for his voice, dancing, charisma, and stage presence. The group achieved massive success, but it was Michael's solo career that rocketed him to international stardom. As an adult, his groundbreaking albums such as Thriller redefined popular music, blending rock, R&B, and pop with innovative music videos and performances. Celebrated for his signature dance moves like the moonwalk, his fashion choices such as a single white sequin glove, and his humanitarian efforts for causes such as HIV/AIDS, Michael became one of the most influential figures in music history, but his career was later marked by controversies. These included criticisms and mockery for his face-changing plastic surgeries and skin lightening, and child sexual abuse allegations. But what about voodoo? And what is voodoo? Voodoo is a practice that originated in West Africa and came to the Americas with the forced immigration of enslaved African peoples. In the New World, Africans blended voodoo beliefs with Christianity, creating distinct regional variations in places like Haiti, Jamaica, and New Orleans. Practitioners engage in rituals with music, dance, objects, and offerings to spirits for guidance, healing, or protection. When most people think of voodoo, they think of voodoo dolls and curses, and curses can be part of voodoo practice. The curses are powerful activities where a practitioner or voodoo priest invokes spirits to bring misfortune or harm to someone. Curses are performed through rituals involving spells, objects such as the famous voodoo dolls, chants, drawings, music, dance, etc. Many practitioners view them as a way of seeking justice or protection rather than harming others. So, how does Michael Jackson relate to voodoo? In a 2003 Vanity Fair article by famed reporter Maureen Orth, it was reported that Jackson participated in a voodoo ritual with a witch doctor named Baba from Mali, a country in Africa. The ritual had the goal of putting a curse on 25 individuals he considered his enemies. The witch doctor promised that Steven Spielberg, David Geffen, and 23 other enemies would die. Filmmaker Steven Spielberg had allegedly earned Jackson's hatred for not casting him as Peter Pan in the 1991 film Hook. music industry David Geffen had, Jackson believed, sabotaged his career in the 1900s by thwarting his attempts to break into movies. Jackson also thought Geffen convinced Sony music executives to block the release or promotion of music projects such as Jackson's 2001 album Invincible. Allegedly, the curse ceremony cost $150,000, took place in Switzerland, and involved the ritual sacrifice of 42 cows. During the ceremony, the witch doctor chanted, "David Geffen, be gone! Steven Spielberg, be gone!" Prior to that curse ritual, to enhance his personal power and charisma, Jackson paid thousands to another voodoo priest for another ritual that included bathing in sheep's blood at Neverland, his luxurious 2,800-acre California ranch. A third ritual was suggested to Jackson's business advisor. For this one, yet another witch doctor magically claimed he could procure $50 million for the heavily in debt Jackson if he were paid thousands of dollars. The ritual would involve the sacrificial blood of chickens and many other small animals. Supposedly, the creatures had already been procured and were waiting to be slaughtered as soon as the money was paid. Instead of agreeing and ponying up the funds, the business advisor recoiled in horror and left. Jackson's fans and supporters dispute all this, of course, but the Vanity Fair article's author, Maureen Orth, is a reporter with impeccable credentials and is highly regarded for her research and reporting on high-profile cases. She also observed and wrote about 2 of Jackson's child sexual abuse trials, including the 2005 criminal trial for child molestation, in which Jackson was acquitted. So how do I fit into this discussion of voodoo? When I was in college, I lived with 3 Jamaican roommates. 2 of them, Linda and Sherry, came from very wealthy families in a big city, and one came from an equally wealthy family, but that lived in a rural area. One day just before Easter, I came home to the apartment to see a baby chick in a slotted wooden crate sitting on the table before the sofa in the middle of the living room. It was Good Friday, and that evening we 4 were all getting drunk on wine when the 2 city girls, Linda and Sherry, started practicing obia, the Jamaican version of voodoo. They began doing what they'd seen done in their native Jamaica, pricking their fingers and drawing weird symbols on the slats of the chick's crate as they danced around it and chanted words I didn't understand. Meanwhile, Jennifer, the country girl, became very disturbed at what the other 2 were doing. "No, no, no," she cried in her Jamaican accent. "You don't play around with obia. Don't mock it. You must stop. Please, stop." She grew increasingly upset, and when she reached the point of near hysteria, the other 2 finally settled down and apologized. The next morning, the chick was dead. Soon afterward, Linda became very ill from the flu, but she recovered. Sherry was called back to Jamaica due to a death in her family. At the end of the school term, I moved away, so I don't know what became of Jennifer. So what do you think? Do you believe in voodoo? Do you think the stories are true about Michael Jackson hiring voodoo practitioners to gain money, enhance his power and charisma, and curse his enemies? Did the baby chick in my apartment die because my roommates practiced Jamaican voodoo or obia on it? Did my roommate Linda become ill, and did my other roommate Sherry's family member die because the 2 girls made a mockery of obia? Have you ever had any personal experience with voodoo? Leave your answers in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please subscribe, like, sign up for notifications, and spread the word about this channel. Also, let me know in the comments if there are other cases you want me to explore. I love and appreciate you all for watching, and I hope you will return to view the next video in the Tamworth Grice Files. Until then, stay wonderful, stay weird, and have beautiful dreams.